Nick from Culligan. Today we'll be talking about the pressure switch. Now there are multiple setups you can have on a pressure switch given the situation. First, remove the cap, there's a little bolt here. Simply turn it off. Sometimes they get a little jammed up. Nothing that a tool can't get undone. They usually come undone pretty fast. There are multiple setups. On this particular setup, we installed a 220 pump on the aerator, a 220 float. Before we even get too far invested in it, we're gonna make sure we have a 220 pigtail, so it matches up. That being said, that pigtail will obviously go to an electrical socket, which will feed the power to the system and the float. In this particular pressure switch, the way we set it up is the two powers come in, and they go to separate terminals, and the ground is already grounded off. All we did was splice the wire like we have here, and we added a fork connector. We crimped it down, we put it in, and we tightened them up. So they're good and tight. There's no getting loose there. So what you want to do when it comes to a pressure switch, any given pressure switch, in our profession at least, is you always want to keep one of the power supplies on the right side of the switch and one of the powers on the left side of the switch. It could be either one of these that this one can connect to. In this case, it could be either one of these the power can connect to. You don't want to connect both the powers onto the right or both the powers onto the left. Either way is fine. If you want to do it so they're both on the right side of their terminal, it's fine, or the left is fine too as well. In a normal given situation, you will have the power supply coming in through one end and the pump power supply coming through the other end. The pump supply is coming in through this left side of the switch, and in a normal circumstance, you can connect it to this side, just like that there, or you can connect it vice versa if you wanted to. In this particular case, I'll go ahead and hook in one part of the pump. Just gonna tighten that down real nice, not too much, but there you go. That's 1/2, or 1/3, I should say, of the pump. The other third is left undone for the moment. The other third, the ground, has already been grounded out, so the grounds are nice and connected, they're ready to go. In this particular case, we're gonna wire the float to the pump as well. That way they coincide and they're both getting the power from the same supply. So, what I'll do there is I'll go ahead and connect this terminal now. So all your terminals are bought up. Then we have a nut connector. We have blue ones, we have yellow ones, whichever one works best. Usually for bulkier wires, 2 or more, either one will work. For bulkier wires, you usually want to use a yellow nut. Get a nice little twist on there, make sure it's solid. We're fine now. Now what's going to happen is when the power comes in and feeds the pressure switch, it's going to feed both of these items at the same time, so they're going to work together. Now you may notice you might have too much wire. In this particular case, it's the float that's too much wire. If it's too much wire with the power supply or too much wire with the pump supply, you can always tighten that through these fittings here. All you gotta do, gracefully, slowly slide that out. Now, when working with this, you always want to give yourself a little bit more to work with. If you have to go back and cut it and refurbish it for any reason, you want to make sure you have more than enough to work with. You don't want to short end yourself or short end the next guy who's got to work on the system. In this particular case, the power's perfect. There isn't too much in there. It's already tied down. Everything's nice and tight and ready to go. Last thing you want to do is just tighten up both these screws, lowering that little bridge to make sure it's sealed up and things can't crawl in or out of the machine. You don't want to over tighten and pinch it. You're just creating a problem there. I'll go ahead and tighten this. I'll go ahead and tighten this up a little bit and tighten it all together. And then I'll put the cap on and we'll be ready to go.